Okay, so I've got a cheap little picture frame from the dollar store, and it's just copper. I'm into metal for this new tree, and then I've got some copper velvet ribbon to hang it from. I took and traced the square part of the picture frame to get the size. I just did it quick. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take and doodle a brownstone street scene and then watercolor it, and then I'll have my ornament. I've been super into brownstones lately, probably from our visit to Boston in October. You just start seeing a bunch of really old, beautiful architecture, and it starts looking like a good idea to put it on your tree. But so I'm just gonna loosely sketch it. It's for your own pleasure. Some people will take and measure it perfectly with a ruler, but I kind of like the character of things not being perfect. And so there's my first building, and then I think I'll do a wider brownstone next to it. And then probably one a little bit lower next to it, maybe a skinnier one. Then I'm gonna go for a wider, tall one. And then probably a little bit shorter one at the end. And then I'll go in and do some details. So probably this end one, I'll do some skinnier stairs. So maybe like the door about right here. A little arch on top, and then maybe some steps going down. And then a thicker line for the railing. And then I'm going to just do like some little lines for the details of the door. I'm not really worried about it being perfect. It's more just for the enjoyment of making your own ornament. So there's my first door. I think I'll do the second door in the middle just because it's a bigger building. We'll probably give it some double doors. Then maybe like a little bit of a threshold. Then there's the first step, the second step, the third. It looks like 4 is my number. I'll do a little line. And then again, I'll do the railings down and the railings on this side. And then probably like a little window above the door, a door down, and then lines for the door. Okay, so we've got 2 steps. So I personally am going to do the next brownstone door on the side again, kind of make it like the first one. There's steps going down, and then the rails, and then the lines. Okay, so we've got 3 doors, 1 door to go, or 2 more doors to go, I can't count. My favorite part of looking at all the old brownstones in Boston and Salem or wherever you are in New England is when they have the really, really old brick that you know they handmade. It just has a lot of character, that homemade brick, and it's beautiful. Makes you kind of wish you had some on your house, but my house is only like 20 years old, almost 21 years old, so it was definitely fabricated quick. It wasn't the craftsmanship. And then we'll do another rail. And then the last door, I think I'm going to do it on the outside just to change it up some. And then maybe do a rounder part on top to make it look a little different than the others. I used to have a cat that was part bobcat and part house cat. That one of the wild cats, when I lived in the Catskill Mountains as a kid, had mated with one of our family friends, Gordon's barn cat. And so we had a cat that was like the size of a bobcat, but it had a longer tail, and we named him Helaman. And he would sit up on our front porch, almost like one of the lions that they have outside of the library in New York City. And our next door neighbor's German Shepherd was terrified of our cat. And so literally the German Shepherd would walk up to our property line, and then the German Shepherd would go across the street, walk, and then go back. He didn't want to mess with our cat. But my husband didn't believe that story. Like, we would tell it, and then we went to visit Gordon's farm about 7 years ago, and he flat out told me that he thought we were full of it all these years, and if he hadn't seen, like, out in the middle of nowhere where Gordon's farm was, he would have never believed the story. I'm like, why would we make up that story? It's kind of funny. Okay, so now I'm going to do the rooftops. I kind of want to give them a little character, but still keep them kind of simple. I was looking at ornaments online, and there were ones that were brownstones, but they were cardboard, and they weren't really the colors I was going for. They were more like traditional Christmas colors, and my tree's more muted. And so I was like, I'm just gonna go buy some cheap little frames and make them myself. And then, you know, this bigger one, I'm gonna probably make it a little bit more deluxe. So maybe a line here, maybe do some fancier windows up above. And then darken around it. I just love Bic pens. I know you can get like fancier ones, like I have a Sharpie that's fine tip, but I feel like they bleed more easily, and so I'm just really happy with my Bic. I honestly buy some at the back to school sales every year because they're my favorite, so I'll buy like 2 or 3 packages because somehow pens always disappear. But Bic pens are my favorite. I know blue pens, they want you to sign documents more now, so it doesn't blend in with the copy, I guess. But I'm going to give them a bit of a canopy. At first I thought I'd do triangle, but I kind of want to do more of a rounded one. So I'm going to change it a little bit. Kind of do a little canopy over this one too. I always thought the little canopies over windows were cool. But yeah, big pens are my favorite. I've had like fancier pens and I don't know, Bic's the way to go. Bic did it right. And then maybe have it arch up a little bit at the top. So then this last one, I'm just going to do simple. And then maybe just black to blend it a little bit. So I really like the look of brick, but brick can take a minute, but I'm going to do a line of brick right here. Just kind of thicker on this one. And then maybe some right here. And then I'll do some windows. I'm going to just do 2 on this one. And a big one right there. And probably going to give it a little tiny one down here. And then maybe darken. I'm kind of debating, like red brick is my favorite, but my tree's kind of more browns this year. So I'll probably do more brownish. And then, so for this one, maybe do some skinnier windows and do a lot more. Like I almost wonder if I could fit 4 across if I did them skinnier. I'm just eyeballing it, nothing, just kind of going with the flow. And then I might just do a dark line at the bottom of these ones. It kind of seems like extra plain down here, so I think I might add a smaller window. And then trying to decide, I do kind of like the squares, so I think I'm going to do another square one here. Kind of do them a little bit tighter. I will have to say, being up in New England, we were in Maine and New Hampshire and Massachusetts, and man, their lobster is so much better. Like I've had lobster in other states, but I think there's a reason why it's so famous there. Honestly, I'm not usually the biggest fan of lobster, but I really liked lobster in New England. I think I probably like it hot better than cold. I know some people really love it decked out in mayonnaise, but I'm a simple butter and salt and pepper kind of person when it comes to my seafood. And then I think I'll do 6 lines on, or 6 windows on these ones just to change it up some. These top ones are smaller, so I'll just do the traditional 4. Okay, and we got 2 more brownstones left to go. It's interesting, I kind of tend to round up a little bit. That's just how I roll, but I kind of feel like we need a tree. It's just looking a little too city-like. Everything's better with a tree, right? Maples have been my most favorite tree the bulk of my life, but in the last couple of years I've kind of gotten a little bit more excited over oak trees. And then I think I'll just do, I know it's supposed to be Christmas time, but I did kind of do leaves around it. And then I think I'll do another tree over here. My cousin, she like shows bulldogs for like her passion. She just loves it. But I once went to oh, what's it called? The big dog show they do in New York City at Madison Square Garden. Oh, the American Kennel Association. And we honestly spent hours just trying to find a place where a dog could easily go to the bathroom in New York City. I'm like, if you own a dog in New York City, it's a lot more effort than it is in the suburbs to try to find a place for your little guy. The biggest shocker with me, well, like, is how much time they spend grooming the dog's hair. If you have like a dog with really pretty hair, oh my goodness, they spend hours doing their hair. And also, like, so my dog is a runt, and I got my dog from a farm. And so, like, he was probably one of the cheaper ones because since he was the smallest of the litter, he wouldn't be like perfectly bred. And but it kind of just blows my mind like how opinionated people get with showing dogs. But they definitely love their puppies though, and it's interesting because they kind of start looking like their dogs. Because I love it when it's like a poodle and they look just like their owner. I don't know why, but that just brings me joy. But fur babies have always been my favorite. They're just the sweetest. I used to tease my kids that our dog was my favorite kid, but because he never talked back to me, but since the kids have moved out, he gets lonely and he'll like yell at me from the house, like, I know you're in the driveway, come in, I'm lonely. So now I can't say the dog's my favorite kid because he talks back to me. Kids aren't around, so he's bossing me around. Let's see. Okay, and then windows on the last one. You know, I kind of like it when some person does it drastically different than everyone else. So we're going to do a round window. Cost a fortune, right? And then two little squares above it. This one just had a radical idea. We're going to add in a circle. And then go work our way down. One thing I like about brownstones is you never really can tell how big they are from the front of them. You kind of have to look at the side because they just go back deep. And then this one, I'm going to do kind of curves, like it has curtains. I don't think anyone but me will notice, but I like it. And then I thought it'd be cool to do a Star of David. So I'm going to just do it really big, as if even today in the suburbs, we still have a star, the sun looking. after us. We'll have it twinkle some. Okay, and then kind of just want to do it snowy and not so worry about so much below, but it kind of looks like it maybe could use something, so maybe I'll add a taxi. Just do a simple one going by. It's a little bit goofy looking, but that's okay. Kind of reminds me of the Roger Rabbit taxi, a little cartoony. I'll just give it black wheels, a little exhaust, a little headlight, back window. It works. It's kind of the goofiest looking car, but okay. And I think we're good. I kind of did a little bit of a line. So for my watercolors, I'm just going simple. There's no, I just have a random set. I got grape grabby, is what it's called. I just bought it on clearance, and I just grab a brush and go to town. So I'm kind of thinking, here, I'll just do it on top of that. Let's see, maybe a brown first. I'll water it. Oh, that's more of a red. I'll just do a light red for one. Red are my favorite. I just want them really light. Sometimes it's hard to turn off the perfectionist, and I try really hard to get perfect, but I could end up spending hours on something. I'm like, this is just a simple ornament, so it's really just chill. So I think I'm going to do two of the buildings red. Maybe this one a little bit darker. I guess I am being a little wild painting on a white tablecloth, but I'm not going to really go towards the edges that much, so I think it's okay. I kind of think I want that one a little bit darker, just to get the real red brick feel. I've always been partial to red brick, and I saw a brown brick house the other day that I really liked, and I decided the reason why I liked it is because they had some gray bricks, like some dark charcoal gray bricks mixed in. kind of gave it a little bit more character. That's probably good. So then I think I'll go for gray next. Probably do a lighter gray. And then another lighter gray, and then I think I'm going to do the big one brown. Okay, and then we'll do a brown if I can find my brown. I ended up with red first because I couldn't find my brown. But I did find a brown. It's kind of a little bit of a coppery brown, but it works. So I ended up doing that top part a little bit darker, so I'll darken down here a little bit. And we'll have the light source be over here. Okay, so let's see. I think I'm gonna do like a charcoal, or actually maybe a navy blue door. Go with darker blue door. And I could do blue windows to kind of pull it in. And then maybe like a charcoal gray around the door, down the stairs. when I was in San Francisco, they had those new, oh, I can't remember what they're called, but they're kind of like a taxi, but they're self-driving taxis. And I don't know if I'm brave enough to go into something like that. It's kind of crazy. We'll do a bright Star of David. And then I think I'll do some lights in some of the windows. I guess I ended up doing all the windows. And then since we have a star in the sky, I guess we should do some darker skies. I think I will do like black sky just to try to help the star shine brighter. When I was in junior high, my older sister lived in Denmark, and she sent home these really pretty watercolorings, but I can't remember the name of the artist, but I love the watercolorings she found there. They're so pretty. He did a lot of Hans Christian Andersen childhood books, like The Little Mermaid and The Emperor's New Groove. I guess were written by him, and he's from Denmark, so kind of a Danish influence. I did a lot darker over here, so try to blend it out some. I'll lift it up. I used to like only do art when I was in the mood because I wanted it to not like worry about it not being perfect. And I took an oil painting class at a local college, and my teacher said, if you only like paint when you're in the mood, you're never going to get anything done, which is true. And so I kind of consciously try to just do it and not worry about it being perfect. I don't know, sometimes the imperfections kind of grow on me. When my kids were young, my oldest was in 2nd grade, so he was like 7. We were in Washington, D.C., and we have a picture of like one kid asleep in a jogging stroller and one bored out of their mind and one screaming at the top of their lungs. And it's one of my favorite pictures, and it because it's so just realistic. It's not like posed at all. That was reality. One's asleep from boredom. One is bored out of their mind, and one has lost it. They've hit their limit. They're gonna scream. So these crevices are going to be pretty dark when they dry, but I guess that's the way we're rolling. So just going with it. I like how it's ended up being lighter around the star. There we go. So I think that's good. Add a little bit right there to blend that more. Okay, so, oh, I forgot to put light in the big round window. So let me add a little light to this guy. And then, I guess I want my trees brown. Maybe try to make them a little bit darker brown. And then I kind of want to add in a little bit of green. Just kind of help blend it some. Kind of give this one a green door. Yeah, I think I'm happy with this. I haven't done the car windows yet. So maybe add a little blue to the taxi. It's kind of showing up gray because I watered it too much. So let me just put a little bit more blue on the brush. It doesn't want to go blue, it wants to stay gray. There we go. Yeah, so I would say I'm happy with it. I could add, so while it dries for a second, I'm going to take and cut the ribbon. And then, let's see. So I'll move the paints out of the way. It will dry pretty darn. So I'm just making this up as we go. And so let's see, probably just like enough to hang it. And then I could have some hang out the bottom of it, but I don't think I'll do that. I think what I'll do is just put some behind so it can hang, and then maybe tie a long bow on it. So where did my scissors go? There they are. These scissors have had a hard life, so don't look at them too close. And then, oh, I didn't realize that ribbon was already cut. Okay. I keep on pulling it away. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'll just close that up in the back of the frame, and then to try to prevent it from sliding up too high, I'm going to tie a bow. I don't know for sure if I'll actually do a bow or if I'll just do a tie, but we'll see. So probably about right there. Maybe twist this just so it's looking a little bit more uniform. There we go. And then I think I'm just gonna do a knot. And then take and trim these so they hide behind the frame. And then I'm just gonna have some longer ribbons hanging off the side. Okay. So then when I look at my picture, it's pretty dry now. So I'm gonna take and do some copper dots. Or not copper, this is gold. I'm gonna just do some gold dots just to add a little bit of character to it. There we go. I would say that looks good to me. So I'm going to take and open up the back. There we go. Slide that in. And it looks like it's just a teeny bit too big. So I'm going to trim it at the top down a little bit. There we go. and it works. So then we've got the little ribbon, and kind of want to twist the tie a little bit. There we go. And then put the two longer pieces hanging out. So twist that around and there we go. Put this on it. And then I'm not too worried about it being secure. I think it will be okay. And so there we go. And you could just do the ribbon plain if you didn't want them hanging. But there we go, my first Christmas ornament.